Hello, world. Welcome to the Shannon Joy Show. Hello, world, and welcome to the Shannon Joy Show. We're broadcasting live from the Joy virtual studio right here in the beautiful Finger Lakes region of New York State. It is so great to be with all of you today. We are launching the week. It is Monday, April 27th, and we have a lot of headlines to hit today on the Shannon Joy Show. I hope you all had a wonderful weekend. We have a lot to talk about. You see the headline on today's show, Monday, April 27th. Ford's Big Brother, Black Mirror surveillance truck, and the government kill switch. Big tech and big government's assault on the open road. They're coming for everything. I'm looking at my stack of stuff today and the headlines, and we're going to cover mass surveillance coming to a car or truck near you, but also attempts by this government and Washington, D.C., and big corporate, big tech, big pharma, big chemical. Their mission to destroy basically everything that is American in the United States of America today. They're destroying our American food supply by putting farmers out of business and crushing them under tariffs and shortages and regulations. It's insane. They're destroying the American dream of home ownership. I have a heartbreaking story about an elderly homeowner in the red state of Texas who's being driven out of his home, which has been paid off. But the property taxes are growing at such an exponential pace that he's being shoved out of his home. The American dream of home ownership being ripped away from us systematically. The American tradition of freedom on the open road, the ability to get into a car and go anywhere you want in the United States of America, being crushed by a truly dystopian collaboration between big automobile and big government, which we're going to get into today. Americans' right to not be poisoned, whether it's through mandatory or coerced injections, or breathing the air, what's in our food and what's in our water. A big, big rally today in Washington, D.C. People versus poison. And I was thrilled to see Tom Massey standing up with Democrats like Ro Khanna and Americans from across the country who are outraged by this president and HHS under Bobby Kennedy Jr. Their mission to extend pharmaceutical liability protections, liability style protections for pharmaceutical companies to big chemical through an outrageous Supreme Court case, which we'll look at today. Horrifying. All of this, systematically, everything that makes America, America, just being assaulted. And yeah, we called this out when Joe Biden was the president and Democrats controlled things in Washington, D.C., because they do it too. Here on the Shannon Joy Show, we are independent, not left, not right, just the truth every day, straight up, no chaser. And we're going to hold Republicans accountable in the same way that we would hold Democrats accountable. And we do that consistently here on the Shannon Joy Show. We've done that for 13 years right here on the show. And unbelievably, 13 years ago, I launched the Shannon Joy Show out of a double wide trailer in a cornfield. I kid you not. Okay. Tiny, tiny little radio station. 13 years later, we are platformed all over the nation. We're on YouTube, Spreely, Roku, Apple TV. We're on Rumble. We're on Twitter. We are on Facebook and Substack. Podcast, 300,000 podcast downloads every single month. The Shannon Joy Show reaching over 1 million eyes and ears every month, and well over 8 million impressions from this little engine that could, completely independent, never been plugged into the Democrat Party or the Republican Party. They both hate me because I tell the truth and I hold them both accountable. And you do too. And there are more and more independent voices out there. One of the things I love about the People versus Poison rally today on Capitol Hill this morning, great videos, great speeches from a whole host of medical freedom warriors and one of our favorites, Thomas Massie. But what I love about this resistance to what's happening within the Supreme Court, in the executive office through the president, and also legislatively through the Republican-controlled Congress, I love this pushback. I love the fact that this pushback is bipartisan. We're beginning to see a trend as more and more Americans exit the two-party political framework because they understand that the two parties work together to crush everything that is American. Horrifying corruption, terrible corruption. And the more Americans that wake up, spit themselves out, and begin to think independently, emancipate, and begin to fight back from the local level, bottom up, the faster we can reclaim the American dream of the open road, home ownership, being free, the American dream of having God-given natural rights to privacy, to bodily autonomy, to travel, to own property. Those are fundamental, God-given, inalienable rights, and they're being stripped away. That's the central message. That's the central theme of these vicious two parties. They will work together as long as it involves destroying our Constitution, the free market, free people, and the American dream. And they will do so with their allies and their cronies in big corporate America. We're witnessing the merger of big government with big corporation, whether you want to call it a public-private partnership or crony capitalism. At the end of the day, it's fascism. That is the definition of fascism. It's the worst aspects of socialism and communism mixed together with the worst aspects of capitalism, right? And they put it all together, and then you have what is even more dystopian when you marry fascism with the tech overlords and the technocratic state. This ideology is wicked, it is evil, and it is coming at us from every angle. So we have a lot to talk about today on the Shannon Joy Show. But first, I want to say hello to all of you. Love the live chats. I see everyone on Rumble. CM1968 is with us today, the very first chatter. Hello, everybody. Future Ez is with us. Be My Valentine. Ollie Robin 9, great to see you. Zen Woman. Loved seeing you, Be My Valentine, on Park Avenue yesterday. Had an amazing day, wonderful weekend. But yesterday was amazing. I was out for many hours with an amazing team, the Larry Sharpe team. We were petitioning to put myself and Larry Sharpe on the ballot in New York State. I'm running for lieutenant governor alongside Larry Sharpe, who is running for governor of New York State on the independent line. And so we need to gather 60,000 signatures in the next 4 weeks. And I think that we can do it. I loved getting out there, talking to all of you. We had about 24 volunteers, all said and done throughout the day. I was lovely to see Be My Valentine, made a lot of new friends and met a lot of people. We have a lot of events coming up this week. Mark your calendars for Wednesday of this week. Big Money Bomb live spaces on Twitter. Myself, Larry Sharpe, Viva Frey, Robert Barnes, and lots of big names are going to be joining us on that live Twitter space where we're seeking to raise as much money as possible to aid in the effort of getting Larry and myself on the ballot. We're sick of the two-party, uniparty political system here in New York State, where both parties get fat and rich off of giving us very few choices and running this state off the cliff. And so Larry and I have a lot of ideas about how to stop that, but it starts with giving New Yorkers an actual choice, actual candidates who seek to serve the good citizens of New York State. So please go to LarrySharp.com. That is LarrySharp with an E.com. You can figure out how to join our petition drive. I'm going to be out and about for the next 4 to 5 weeks. I cannot wait to meet all of you. May 9th, we're going to be heading to, I believe, the Lilac Festival for another massive petition drive. And Larry Sharp is going to be traveling to Rochester, New York to join me on that day. So Saturday, May 9th, mark your calendars. We are going to be out and about. See, we don't just sit here on the Shannon Joy Show and complain all day long about how bad everything is. Yeah, things are pretty bad, but I just cannot stand sitting around complaining and doing nothing. I'm a get it done kind of gal. And so this is my way of giving back, trying to do something different here in New York State with Larry Sharp from my own corner of the world, according to my own unique talents and abilities. Each and every one of you across this great nation has the ability to stand up against these two parties and big corporate, big ag, big tech, big chemical, big pharma. We have the worst of all ideologies convening today in Washington, D.C., and it is dark, dark, dark. We have to wake up. And we don't need a majority of Americans to do so. If we had 10% of the American population active, engaged, not propagandized, outside of both of the political cults, moving and shaking at the local level, this nation will change. We will see justice. I know you don't believe that can happen. I know that it can. I know that it can. What we are up against is wickedness. It is darkness. These people are wicked, corrupt, megalomaniac, control freak lunatics with God complexes. This is what we're dealing with. We have to stand up to them. And we can, because this is America. And we're gonna see how bad it is. I mean, it is bad, bad, bad out there. So great to see everyone on the live chat on Rumble. Do me a favor, if you're watching for the first time on Rumble, like the show, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the Shannon Joy Show on all of the platforms. I see you guys on Substack and on YouTube. We are growing exponentially on those two platforms, and it is great to see you guys. We have Roscoe on Substack. I loved seeing you with Marjorie Taylor Greene. I trust Bobby Kennedy about as far as I can throw him. Wow. This is the guy that tried to Fitbit everyone. Yes, I'm going to make a t-shirt promoting your podcast. Oh my gosh, you're amazing. You should sell them. I've been dying to do merch. Listen, Roscoe, if you're good at merch and you can get something together, let's go. I just don't have any room on my plate to, come up with a design concept and get it going. But I would love to do Shannon Joy merch. So if you guys have ideas, if anyone's out there and want to make a buck selling merch with me, shoot me an email, theshannonjoyshow@gmail.com, theshannonjoyshow@gmail.com. We also see Jeremiah on Substack. Great to see you. Kiki Penn, it's pathetic what's happening in this country. I'm embarrassed to be an American right now. Well, Kiki, I'm not embarrassed to be American. I'm angry, though. I'm embarrassed that we allow these megalomaniac losers and lunatics in Washington, D.C. get away with abusing us, lying to us, poisoning us on a daily basis. And the reason we let them get away with it is because we're too busy fighting each other, D versus R. They have so successfully separated Americans who would normally agree with each other on most things on, black versus white, male versus female, Democrat versus Republican, conservative versus liberal, you name it. Every way they can slice us, they are doing it. And that is what is keeping us locked down, miserable, in a malaise, and facing massive losses of freedom by these governments. So, Kiki, don't be embarrassed, be angry. I'm proud to be an American. I love this country. This is an amazing country. Americans are amazing people. Our founding documents are miraculous. Miraculous. What the framers of the Constitution put together here in the US. Okay? Let's not forget that. Let's fight for it, right? On YouTube, great to see you guys. Lots of comments on Substack and YouTube today. Hey, Sharon. Great to see you. Hey to everyone, she says. Big tech, big government, big pharma are out of control and they're trying to monopolize everything. Absolutely. 100%. Hey, Fred Carpenter, great to see you. Thank you for what you do and being independent and free to tell the truth. I do feel free, Carpenter. That is the one amazing thing about spitting yourself out of the uniparty, D versus R. It is so freeing. It's so amazing. You never have to carry water for corrupt politicians and people who lie to you. And it is absolutely emancipating. And I feel so blessed. Even though we're little here, small platform here in the SJ show, we don't get the big money. We don't get the big sponsors. We're not in the pocket of the Republican Party or the Democrat Party. Mainstream media doesn't like me. Right-wing media doesn't like me or any of us who gathered today for this independent broadcast. And so we've got to do it the right way. We got to do it the small way. But believe me, this audience is small but mighty. I don't need very many of you. We just need the right people. And you guys are amazing. And I love meeting you. One of my favorite things, I love going out and hanging out on Park Avenue. We had a beer after petitioning, and I talked to so many people, got a ton of signatures. And I don't know, maybe I'm crazy, but I just really enjoy that. I enjoy talking to all of you. And yeah, it was great. So I want to see you at the next drive. Keep an eye. Make sure you sign up right now to the SJ newsletter. Go to theshannonjoy.com, theshannonjoy.com immediately. Do it right now. Pay attention to the show, but do it right now. This is the way that I'm going to keep in touch with all of you. We're on a lot of platforms here. The rug can be pulled out at any time. We can lose platforms. We can be thrown off platforms. We've been thrown off of Twitter, shadow banned on Facebook, completely thrown off of YouTube. We're just getting back on YouTube. So, the nature of podcasting and broadcasting today, especially using internet platforms, is unstable. We've been able to do it because I platform everywhere. So I don't have all of my eggs in just one basket, but the best way for you to connect with me and get my daily e-newsletter is to sign up at theshannonjoy.com, theshannonjoy.com to grab that newsletter. So Annie Cyrus is producing the SJ show today. We love Annie. She's keeping an eye on the YouTube chat and the Substack chat, and she's going to be grabbing your questions and comments as we move through today's show. And we're going to be replatforming to Clout Hub. Love Todd Callender and the team over at Clout Hub. And so he has a massive, massive platform. We're going to plug the Shannon Joy show in on Clout Hub, which is super exciting. And Pickaxe. You guys know Jeff Dornick. We are beginning to put everything together to begin platforming on Pickaxe as well. We want to grow all of these different platforms and reach people where they want to be reached. That's the nature of broadcasting today. Everyone has the app that they like. Some people really like YouTube. Some people really like Rumble. Some people spend all their time on Twitter or on Facebook or on Pickaxe or wherever. So my mission is to figure out a way to reach you where you are. So if you're watching on any of the platforms, if you're listening today via podcast at your leisure, please remember comments, recommendations, 5-star ratings, share, copy, all of the things that helps us to grow organically. Buskman, great to see you on the live chat. Edgar615 is on the Rumble live chat. And Max Glitman, love to see you on the live chat as well here on Rumble. All right, let's get into, did I hit everything in terms of housekeeping? I believe that I did. Upcoming, tomorrow, Sasha Latipova. Thursday, Peter Schiff. Next week on Tuesday or Wednesday, Jason Bassler for a deep dive on Palantir, the most dangerous global tech corporation on the planet. They can drone you, bro, right? I mean, their connections to U.S. military and international military, very, very bad. So we're going to be talking about freedom, liberty, and the techno-fascists with Jason Bassler next week. And I'm working on Tom Massey. We're working on Tom Massey for the first or second week in May. So that might be next week, maybe the week after. Really proud of Tom Massey for standing up once again and standing in the gap between this horrifyingly corrupt federal government and the people of the United States of America. They are lobbying every assault at we the people in every area you can imagine. I've mentioned it in the beginning intro of the Shannon Joy show. Big tech, big pharma, big ag, big chemical, big government, big corporate, big banking, the banksters. They're manipulating our money, printing money. We haven't even had a chance to talk about the economic situation here in the US. We're going to have a full show with Peter Schiff on Thursday of this week to deep dive there. But it is at every angle. They are throwing everything but the kitchen sink at we the people. This is why it's so important for us to find each other and fight back. So you see the headline for today's show. If you thought that Big Brother was just watching you from your devices or from the skies or over the phones, think again. Ford, supposedly an American company, an American truck, just filed a series of patents designed to turn your ride into a rolling police state on wheels. It is the Big Brother spy truck from Ford, and it is absolutely frightening. Ford plans to roll out their Black Mirror surveillance cars and trucks with biometric iris and fingerprint scans, emotional lockout technology that parks your vehicle if it decides that you're in a panic or staring too long at something with eyes that are too big, lip reading acoustic spying for targeted ads, right? So they're going to spy on you, read your lips, read the lips of everyone in the car, and then target you with advertising and propaganda, likely from our government, in addition to unencrypted live cabin feeds from inside your car handed straight to government agencies and law enforcement. This dystopian nightmare isn't science fiction. It's already rolling out with over 4 million vehicles worldwide, which is why we need to smash it now. The culture, the people, the market needs to push back. Is why I'm calling for a boycott of Ford. We want them to be hurt by this. And so I've been tweeting out about this. I will never buy a Ford ever, ever, ever again. I've had a couple Fords in my lifetime. I will never buy. My children will not buy a Ford. My grandchildren will not buy a Ford. I'm going back to like 1986. I want a 1986 Chevy Suburban. That's what I want. I'm going low tech. There is no way that I'm going to allow myself or my children to get into a car that is run by AI and probably our wicked and corrupt government. No way, shape, or form. So the dystopian nightmare is already here, but it's even more dystopian when you understand that Ford is creating these patents with an eye on servicing the government, okay? When it is paired with federal mandates for kill switches and surveillance in your cars, and this happened, it was passed in a Republican-dominated Congress, the bill passed, and this mandates, it federally mandates kill switches be installed in all 2020, is it 7? I have the report here, which we'll go over. But basically, they're trying to make it illegal for any car to be produced or manufactured in the United States of America without automatic kill switches that the government controls, which is insane, okay? The question is, if they plan on locking us out of our cars for a variety of reasons, what else do they have planned for us? How long is it before they lock us out of our money through a digital ID or a private banking digital ID or a stable coin or tokenized dollars, right? How long is it before they lock us out of our money? How long is it before they lock us out of our electricity? If our social credit score dips below a certain level, can they deny us lights, heat, electricity in our own homes? What about our ability to travel, social media, the internet, education, healthcare, appliances, right? Couldn't you just see HHS saying, well, we have an obesity problem in the United States of America, but rather than holding pharmaceutical companies liable and food companies and chemical companies liable for poisoning us with our food, right? Oh, no. They're just going to blame it on you and lock you out of your refrigerator if your biometric surveillance comes in. Can't you see it? Robert Kennedy Jr. wants us all with smartwatches. feeding government back to or feeding our biometric information back to the government, right? And you could see how they could make the case. Well, we live in a socialist utopia, a techno-socialist utopia here in the US. And so we have a vested interest in the health of every American. And so if your data does not fit whatever it is they deem to be the appropriate weight or, the appropriate BMI, why not lock your refrigerator? You can't open it. It's crazy. It's crazy. This is why we have to rage against this kill switch, and we have to rage against Ford, right? The corporation and the government, two sides pressing in, working together in tandem through both political parties to crush Americans, to create monopolies, to make money, and to own everything. Their vision for us in 2030, you own nothing and you're happy. At least that's what Klaus Schwab had to say about it. We've got to fight back. So we're going to look at this report, very good report on that. We also have a phenomenal report on what is going down with the Trump administration, HHS, Congress, and the Supreme Court after being lobbied to the tune of $9 billion by Bear, all right, to extend pharma-style vaccine liability protection clauses in a variety of different ways via legislation, executive order, and Supreme Court rulings, okay? So they want, rather than, we thought when Bobby Kennedy entered HHS, we would be getting rid of pharmaceutical liability protection. No. That is ensconced in federal law and in Supreme Court, not Supreme Court, but in judicial rulings, right? They've done nothing to alleviate that problem. They're now just moving on to extending those same type of liability protections to chemical companies. So I have a full report on that. This is why so many medical freedom warriors have descended on Washington, D.C. A great rally this morning at 9:30 a.m. Tom Massey spoke there. We might have a little bit of his speech to share with you. Again, we need to fight back, and they are on the side of the American people. This is a bipartisan effort between Tom Massey, Ro Khanna, handful of Republicans, handful of Democrats, and they're on the right page here. So I have a great overview on that, on how extensive this effort is to push this liability protection out. I guess if it worked so well for pharma, Big Chemical got a load of that and said, "Hey, why aren't we getting that? We're giving you just as much money as the big pharmaceutical corporations. Why don't you write into the United States law liability protection for us?" It's crazy. It's crazy. And it's because they're paying out big time because of glyphosate. They're losing those lawsuits, and they're losing lawsuits internationally. So of course they come to the most corrupt geographic area in the world, which is Washington, D.C. They couldn't get away with this in other courts internationally. So they come to the U.S. We're going to stop them. That's what we're going to do. So thank you to the efforts, the People versus Poison rally on Capitol Hill. Really thankful. Dennis Kucinich helped to organize that. Zen Honeycutt helped to organize that as well. We saw Del Bigtree at that rally. Highwire Children's Health Defense is pushing that out. Really, really good effort. Very good effort. So we'll talk about that in a moment. So we're going to go to break. I want to thank the sponsors of the Shannon Joy Show. We have amazing sponsors. It's how we keep the lights on here on the SJ Show. So we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to get it right into these stories. Big stuff happening today. And no, we're not talking about what went down at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, right? I said what I thought about all that on Twitter and got hammered. You guys know what I think about all that. Yeah, I don't believe anything I see in Washington, D.C. Everything that goes down in D.C. and is pushed out by the MAGA cultists and the Trump influencers who are being paid to push out their propaganda, I don't trust any of it. And we're just not going to dwell on it today. We'll let everyone else talk about that. We're going to talk about what matters to you. So we'll be back in a moment. Mama C 1996, girl, I see you. I see you. You guys know what I think about that. You know exactly what I think about that. I don't even have to say it, right? All right, we'll be back in a moment to continue the show right here on the Shannon Joy Show. Hey everyone, I just want to take a moment to thank one of my longtime friends, associates, my financial advisor, and a beloved sponsor of the Shannon Joy Show, Don Polano over at PCM and Associates. Don Polano, as many of you know, was the very first Shannon Joy Show advertiser almost 12 years ago, and he's been with us ever since. I trust Don Polano. He manages some of my assets and my retirement fund, and he's offering his services to all of you. He can take clients anywhere in the country and even across the globe over at PCM Associates. And as you guys know, it is so important today. There's so much volatility and chaos. You need a human being, a person that you trust, and a person that shares your values. And that's Don Polano at PCM and Associates. So if you are looking for someone to help you manage your retirement or have investment advice, please consider calling Don Polano over at PCM Associates. His number, 1-800-536-1368. That's 1-800-536-1368. And of course, you can go to pcmpolano.com. That is pcmpolano.com to learn about all of his services and get in contact with his team. Again, so thankful for Don Polano at PCM and Associates, and I think that you are really going to appreciate his services. So that number again, 1-800-536-1368 for a financial advisor that you can trust. Hey everyone, I am so proud to recommend Shift Gold to this audience as the gold standard for metals purchasing and investing. I couldn't ask for a better partner to help people understand gold and silver and use them as strategic instruments to protect their family's financial future. Peter Schiff's teaching on markets has shaped my understanding of how economies grow and why they collapse. And I've used him as a critical source for my daily broadcast for over 10 years. The Shannon Joy Show audience already knows and loves Peter because he has been such a treasured educator over the years. He is now the preeminent source for rock-solid financial analysis around the world. And this is because he understands the immutable laws of natural markets and his stalwart unwillingness to veer from absolute truths regardless of economic fads and political pressures. Bottom line, he doesn't sell out. And that means a lot to me. I trust Shift Gold, and you can too. Go to shiftgold.com/joy today to get started. You'll find some of the lowest spot prices for gold and silver and critical information on protecting your retirement savings with a gold or silver IRA. That's www.shiftgold.com/joy. Hedge against the chaos with our friends over at Shift Gold. Please head over to theshannonjoy.com, theshannonjoy.com. This is my independent platform. It is my website. I own it. And the email list that I have created with all of you, those of you who have signed up for the Shannon Joy daily email, it is so important. It's the most critical element in terms of my connection to all of you. Should I be deplatformed on YouTube or Twitter or Rumble or any of the platforms that we are pushed out on today, it is my one line to all of you. It's where I can contact you directly and let you know where to find the show. I will never forget the censorship of 2020. I was permanently suspended on Twitter. I was completely shadow banned on Facebook. I lost the entirety of both audiences in the span of 30 days. In the early days of the Shannon Joy Show, I was completely yanked off of a radio station because I continued to critique Donald Trump, and it was a right-wing radio station. Overnight, I lost my entire platform. Thank God 10 years ago, or was 8 years ago, I had built up a presence on Twitter and Facebook and was able to continue the show until I moved it to another platform, a 50,000 watt radio station just down the road. But I am very familiar with being deplatformed and it happening very fast. That email list is everything. It is my pipeline to all of you. So if you haven't signed up for the SJ email list, please do so today. Go to theshannonjoy.com. That is theshannonjoy.com, and make sure that we're connected. Welcome back, everyone, to the Shannon Joy Show. So great to be with all of you today. Is my shirt bright enough for all of you? I didn't realize, I swear it's not this bright in real life, but for whatever reason, it's like, whoa, I'm gonna make you notice me today, right? On the SJ show. Well, pink is my signature color. So we got to rock the pink every once in a while. I see all of you on the live chat. We have two big stories to get to today. We are going to cover Ford and their dystopian big brother truck patents, and also the passage of kill switch legislation that is going to turn every car in the United States of America into a government surveillance box. I have a lot here on that. Thank you once again to Tom Massey for standing up and standing against this. He is introducing some legislation, or he's introducing a removal, an attempt to remove that language from the bill that passed. So we're going to get into all of that. We're also going to talk about this insane push to extend pharmaceutical company vaccine liability protections for chemical companies. This is the worst of all situations. And I have a great piece here, an overview from Brian Allen. You can follow him on Allen Analysis, and I link this in the show notes of the Shannon Joy Show. When you say how coordinated this effort is, from the executive branch, legislative branch, the Supreme Court, lobbying money pouring in, and they are going hard to establish and normalize this type of governmental partnership with corporations, which essentially aligns government and corporations against people, right? So they can just kill you at will, and they will never be held accountable, ever. We have seen all of the problems stemming from these type of protections for pharmaceutical companies. Well, it's going to come. And if they establish this for big chemical, they're going to establish this for everyone. Americans will never be able to sue a corporation ever again, ever. They can do whatever they want to us. So this is really important. And I did also link you all in the show notes of the Shannon Joy Show to the full rally. Tom Massey pushed it out live on his platform on X. And so in the show notes, you will find a link if you want to watch all of the speeches and that full press conference and rally. Please go ahead, push this out to everyone you know. So I see you on YouTube, the lunatic libertarian, Larry Sharpe for New York governor and Shannon Joy for lieutenant governor. Thank you, the lunatic libertarian. So appreciate you. Get your petitions, New Yorkers. That's one thing that you guys can do today. Send $5 to Larry Sharpe. Go to LarrySharpe.com. Send him $5. He will send you a petition. You can sign the petition and get 5 or 6 other petition signers if you want to. I think he's going to send you 3 petitions. And so that's enough for 15 signatures. If each and every one of you watching today, if you live in New York State and you vote in New York State, sent him $5 and got those petitions and then filled them out, 15 signatures, we'd be on the ballot. We'll get on the ballot. So you can do something that matters today. Thank you, the lunatic libertarian. Really appreciate. Buskman, Shannon, does your shirt have a 40-volt battery linked to it under the desk? Oh, well, got to stand out a little bit. Mama C 1996. I see you on the live chat. Hilarious. Mama C 1996 is not buying what went down at the Washington, D.C. White House Correspondents' Dinner. She's sensing a little bit of kayfabe, a little bit of WWE wrestling, perhaps. And I'm not going to go there live on the show. I'm just going to say word on the street. Like, the international community is already mocking what happened at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Like, no one believes it. But, Big MAGA is big mad. They're mad. Like, if you say anything about that, man, the bots and trolls will come after you. Mr. Worthless Eater, I see you on the live chat. The KHS, the Ketchup Humane Society, has confirmed that no ketchup packets were harmed in the last Trump false flag performance in Washington. That's what Mr. Worthless Eater, not me. That's what he's saying. I'm just platforming the sentiment of many Americans. And we know what it's very obvious what the mission was, the reason for the stunt that was pulled in DC. It's Trump's bunker, his massive, massive layer, the evil layer that they're building underneath the ballroom, right? To collect data on all Americans and do whatever nefarious or dystopian things. Trump's bunker is under fire. And people are paying attention to what's going on underneath the ballroom. And so now, I mean, it's so obvious. So obvious. The narratives. So Andrew Colvett, Libs of TikTok, Jack Posobiec, End Wokeness, Wall Street Mav, Meghan McCain, Tara Bull, Dustin Grage, is all on Twitter. Sean Farish, Buzz Patterson, Geiger Capital, Tom Fitton, Cernovich, Randy Fine, all of them with the exact same messaging. This is why President Trump needs his ballroom. This is why we need Trump's ballroom. This is why we need Trump's ballroom. I don't want to hear any more effing criticism of Trump's new ballroom, says Meghan McCain. She sounds nice. Terrible. Now you know why they don't want Trump to build a ballroom in the White House. Come on. There's also rumor on the street. Marjorie Taylor Greene pushed out that many are saying that Trump is also going to use this to push FISA expansion. So this is unconstitutional without a warrant, wireless or wiretapping. So the government spying on average Americans en masse, no warrant necessary. They are going to, say, oh, well, this guy was crazy and we should have been investigating him, blah, blah, blah. The guy who was the shooter. I mean, listen, I can't get through the airport with 8 ounces of water in a bottle. Okay. And you mean to tell me that the security detail for President Trump just let some rando run through a hotel? He couldn't even make it through the hotel. I think he tripped over his own feet. I mean, the whole thing was just ridiculous. I said I wasn't going to talk about this. Oh my gosh. I digress. Anyway, I mean, come on. Come on. So we'll let everyone else talk about this. We're going to get into the things that matter for you. Let's see who else we have. Oh, I see you. Strident Conservative, amazing resource. David Leach is the owner of Strident Conservative. It's a fantastic newsletter and news site. Some of the best writing outside of the two-party political paradigm, not left, not right, just the truth, constitutional. And so go to stridentconservative.com and sign up and support him today if you can. Shannon, yes, the Shannon Joy Doctrine. And that is a willingness to support anyone, regardless of party. You can be working party, Democrat, Republican, conservative. You can be libertarian, blank no party. That's what I am in New York State. If you are defending the truth, if you are defending our founding documents and our Constitution, if you are defending basic human liberty, then I'm going to support you. I'm going to bring you on my show. We're going to talk to you. I do not care what letter is behind your name. And I think you're right, David Leach. We can call that the Shannon Joy Doctrine. That is the Shannon Joy Doctrine, because not many of my colleagues would do that. So thank you. I appreciate you so much, Strident Conservative, and I'm glad you're on the chat. Andrea, 62703, certainly can't miss you today for sure with that shirt, Shannon. Well, got to cut through the clutter. So every once in a while, I'll wear the bright shirt. Buskman, thank you. Appreciate you on the live chat. Hey, if you have something to say on Substack or YouTube, Annie is keeping an eye on the live chat, and she's going to read to me, or she's going to pop in your questions and your comments. Let's get to this today. Ford's Big Brother spy truck. It's completely un-American. And we need to make executives at Ford hear us. In the same way that we made executives at Target hear us when they were going down that crazy transgender thing. I mean, Americans are going to need to start raging against this stuff. That's why on Twitter this morning, I pushed out, there's a very good video, a video explainer that I posted in the show notes of the Shannon Joy Show. I also pushed out on my Twitter account. And interestingly enough, everybody is, raging about the Ford Big Brother Black Mirror spy truck, but they're not linking or tagging Ford in. So this is a really important concept. Like, you've got to let Ford know that you hate what they're doing. So when you talk about not buying a Ford ever again because of this insanity, make sure that you link them in. Make sure that you add their handle so that they see how angry you are. And then we need to get that going. So tweet and retweet and comment. This is how we get our voices out. But this was a great overview from Jessica Rojas on X. Make sure you follow her. She's a great follower. But, this is what she has to say. Dystopian doesn't even cover it, okay? This is what Ford is doing. In new patents filled with the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, and this is serial number, so you know it's real, 202-501-04469. Ford is envisioning a future where your pickup truck or any car turns into a rolling police station. And they don't mean just a bunch of new safety features. The new patents envision your truck or car as a 24/7 surveillance outpost. And it's worse than just Ford. Ford plans on securing these patents and then supplying other car manufacturers, all car manufacturers across the United States of America with these technologies, just in time for Congress and the government to start up their surveillance of every driving American. And they're beginning with the kill switch legislation. So that is the camel's nose under the tent, the kill switch. They can go in, and this is a law now. This was passed in a Republican Congress. I'm not sure if President Trump signed it. I'm sure he did if it's a law. So again, the worst of the surveillance state being handed to us on a silver platter by President Trump, the guy who's supposed to be against this. This is why I say he's a Trojan horse president. But this is disturbing, all right? Biometric checks. From the comfort of your own driveway, your eyes will be scanned, and that iris and fingerprint checked against a database of criminals. Real-time results are received within seconds. And if you are on that list of criminals, apparently you can't start your car. Your car can also put you in an emotional lockout. I kid you not. If your vehicle, again, this is now being rolled out in Fords, but Ford is securing the patents to provide these for every car and truck manufacturer in the United States and across the globe. So your car, in just a few short years, can put you in emotional timeout. If your vehicle senses that you are in a panic, right, or have big eyes, I don't even know what that means or how they decide how big are big eyes too big to start your car? Who knows, right? The vehicle will determine that you are not emotionally fit to drive, and the vehicle will remain in park, and they will not allow the shifter to transition into the drive state. Ad spying. Ford envisions using acoustic waves to read your lips and display monitored conversations to you in order to serve you targeted ads or government propaganda, which is way more lucrative, by the way, than targeted ads these days, for maximum monetization. Also for law enforcement, this is the snitch feature of Ford's new vision for driving in America in the 21st century. This snitch feature provides law enforcement with live feeds of the footage and doesn't encrypt them so that they can be used for law enforcement integration. In fact, Ford's own patent language for this feature describes the live feeds as potentially useful for police. So this is the worst of a government corporate partnership, right? The government works on the legislation. They start with the kill switch legislation, and then the corporation, probably upon having insider information about legislation that's going to be passed requiring all cars to have these type of surveillance features, well, then Ford gets in on the ground level because, well, they're working with the government. They're colluding, they're conspiring, they're creating monopolies, they're cheating, and they're crushing the American people. There's so many problems with this feature. So here you have the corporation, and then if you pair it with what the government is doing, this is what Tom Massey had to say about the kill switch legislation. He said, would you believe that 57 Republicans and 211 Democrats recently voted in favor of this Orwellian automobile kill switch? He provided in this tweet the roll call for the vote, and he is now looking to defund that mandate. And the rule is that every new car in the United States of America will be required by law to have technology that puts constant surveillance on the driver by 2027 and also has the ability to turn off your car. Artificial intelligence, this is from Puberty, who pushed this out on April 25th. Artificial intelligence in your car will determine if you're sober, if you're fit to drive, and it will automatically turn the vehicle off if it determines that you might be a danger to the open road. Thomas Massey said federal laws that require this are dystopian. He said your dashboard should not be judge, jury, and executioner. And he joined with Representative Scott Perry and Representative Chip Roy to offer an amendment to defund the automobile kill switch mandate. And he has there, I have a clip for you of his statements on Capitol Hill to that effect. And so, Annie, if you have that ready, and make sure it's turned up so that I can hear it, because I want to comment on this. But, Tom Massey just briefly touches the problem. There are a million problems with this. A million problems with this. I mean, what if you get in the car and you're trying to escape an assailant? Maybe someone's chasing you through a parking lot, or they want to, there are a million things that could happen that could, render a human being, quote unquote, unfit to drive. It's just insane. And it's just completely unconstitutional and un-American, completely un-American. And so this is what Tom Massey had to say. So the clip that I'm looking for, Annie, is Tom Massey on Capitol Hill. And it says, Tom Massey moves to strike the kill switch legislation. It's in the show notes of the Shannon Joy Show, where I linked his X account. And it is a 5-minute, it's a 5-minute video of what Massey had to say about this. But again, unbelievable that this is coming from a Republican-controlled Congress, signed into law by a quote-unquote Republican president. Most conservatives would be against this. Most conservatives don't know anything about this because most of conservative media and the conservative influencer class is on the payroll of Donald Trump. So they are paid to propagandize you and omit from your purview any information about the dystopian, Orwellian, techno-fascist expansions that are being rolled out by the Trump administration and the Republican Party as they enjoy their trifecta power in Washington, D.C. Huge disservice. Shame on Fox News. Shame on The Blaze. Shame on Daily Wire. Shame on these heritage conservative outlets that are lying to their audiences by commission and omission every single day. It is really, really disgusting to watch. Because if conservatives and Republicans actually knew about these things, they would oppose them and they would not justify what this president is doing. This is what Tom Massey had to say about this effort on Capitol Hill. Here we go.
It is now in order to consider amendment number 1, printed in Part B of House Report 119-462. For what purpose does the gentleman from Kentucky seek recognition?
Mr. Chair, I have an amendment at the desk.
The clerk shall designate the amendment.
Amendment number 1, printed in Part B of House Report number 119-462, offered by Mr. Massey of Kentucky.
Pursuant to House Resolution 1014, the gentleman from Kentucky, Mr. Massey, and a member opposed, each will control 5 minutes. The chair recognizes the gentleman from Kentucky.
Mr. Chair, I rise in support of our amendment. This is co-sponsored by Mr. Perry from Pennsylvania and Mr. Roy from Texas. And I regret that we have to offer this amendment. What I'm going to describe will probably sound like a bad science fiction movie, but that's what's written into law. Right now in law, that's going to be implemented it says for 2026 and beyond. Now, the reality is the technology doesn't exist, but that doesn't keep legislators from imagining things that they would like to do to infringe on civil liberties. But there is a law that states that every vehicle manufactured is going to have a kill switch in it. The car itself will monitor your driving. And if the car thinks that you're not doing a good job driving, it will disable itself. So the car dashboard becomes your judge, your jury, and your executioner. Imagine this. We've got a snowstorm coming. A mom takes her kids out. They're going to the grocery store. It's snowing. They're trying to get some groceries before the big storm hits. She swerves for a pothole. The neighbor's pet gets in the way, swerves for that. A first responder goes by. She pulls over. Her car says, "You got one more swerve, and then we're going to ground you." There it is. The next thing she has to avoid, an icy patch in the road. The car has adjudicated her as unsuitable for driving. It disables the vehicle, and there she's stranded. My question is, how do you appeal your sentence once your car, the technology in your car, has judged you to be incapable of driving? Once it's disabled you and your children at the side of the road, how do you appeal that? Do you press a button on the dashboard? Do you start talking to an AI? What if it really was somebody who was drunk? Are you really going to send a police car after this? Disabled vehicle? Do we have the resources to do that? There's going to be so many false positives. The technology is unworkable. That's why the DOT is still in the rulemaking process, asking for feedback on how this thing could even exist. And it's just a bad idea, but it's in law, and so our amendment would defund that. And with that, I'd like to reserve the balance of my time.
The gentleman reserves. The gentleman.
Turn it off now. So that is Tom Massey making a really great point. I mean, this could be incredibly dangerous as well, because if you swerve 1, 2, or 3 times, and the 4th time, maybe you really do need to swerve in order to avoid something incoming that could harm you or hit you, but you don't swerve because you're worried your car is going to shut off. I mean, this could be incredibly dangerous. There are a million different areas that we could touch on why this is so incredibly bad. And we're going to do that in future shows. We're going to feature Jason Bassler on the SJ show next week. He is an unbelievable warrior for liberty, and he has been doing a phenomenal series of deep dives on how evil and wicked and horrifying the company Palantir is. Palantir is one of the most dangerous tech companies. They are tech fascists. They are completely aligned and tethered to the U.S. government, but they're one of the most dangerous corporations to human flourishing and thriving in the world. And we're going to talk with Jason Bassler about all of this. But this needs to be on your radar. This is what you can do today to begin to fight back against this. Please consider writing, posting, tagging, and threatening to boycott Ford. Let them know that we hate this, that we will never buy, that their cars will sit in parking lots gathering dust, because no American is going to purchase a car like this, that we'll go back, we'll go old school, whatever it is. And I see all of your posting on the live chat about going back in time and low tech, basically, buying cars that were made before, 2009 or whatever. I would certainly be open to that, but it doesn't have to get to that point. If we make enough of noise if we make enough noise about this, not just with our legislators and with the people in Washington, D.C., but if we hit Ford where it really hurts, right? You try this, you go for these patents, you promote this stuff, we'll never buy a car from you. Boycott Ford. And that is one way that we can begin to pull them off of this thread. And then, of course, support people like Tom Massey. Tom Massey is in a fight for his life in the state of Kentucky. Big pharma, big tech, big government, big corporate, Trump Inc., MAGA Inc., in the entirety of the uniparty dystopian system is aligning against Tom Massey, because Tom Massey is one of the only guys who is willing to stand up against Donald Trump, especially from a conservative, libertarian leaning perspective. And so the entire country needs to get behind Tom Massey. Send him $5, $10, $15. For me, what he just said on Capitol Hill is worth a $5 or $10 donation. And I know he's raising a lot of money. They are dumping billions upon billions into Kentucky to take him out. And we need to keep him in Washington, D.C. If anything, just to be the only no vote and to bring us back the information that we need to know. And then we can work from the outside in. There's already legislation in multiple states across America to ban these types of surveillance systems in cars. So this fight is not over. We are just now going to get engaged. And unfortunately, we don't have the benefit of the biggest right-wing platforms because, well, they're too busy defending Donald Trump, who's actually, left-leaning. So it's crazy, absolutely crazy. Ollie Robin 9, we need organic cars. Yeah, the efficiency laws and efficiency regulations have made it so that at least right now, I don't believe you could legally produce a dumb car in the U.S. I think that it would violate weight restrictions and safety, safety regulations that have been put in. They've been layered into federal law, and so that really governs how these manufacturers, manufacturers produce their cars. So we got a lot of work to do there, but yeah, we're gonna have to horse and buggy. Why don't we do that? Let's bring back the horse and buggy. Golf carts. We could do golf carts. I mean, honor seeker, I drive a non-GMO car. So funny. Let's take a look at the live chat, and then we're going to go to a quick break. And then when we come back, we're going to look at what is going on on Capitol Hill. Big rally. People versus poison. The other big story of the day, while everyone else is reading propaganda that was delivered to them by Trump or the Republican Party or the mainstream news party or the Democrats. Here on the SJ Show, we're covering the stories that none of them will cover, but the stories that matter to you. And we're going to talk about how the government, from the executive, legislative, and judicial branches, are seeking to offer a German country, a foreign country, massive liability protection, taking away the right of the American people to sue these chemical companies, and they're hitting us from every angle. I have a phenomenal overview. We're going to look at what's going on at that rally in Washington, D.C., and then we'll look at how sophisticated this operation is. Great piece from Brian Allen, which is linked in the show notes of the Shannon Joy Show, so that you know what they're angling to do. It's very bad. So I do want to say hello to all of you on the live chat from Substack. Hey, Arthur, great to see you on Substack. Did you see that Palantir has a new $300 million contract with the USDA for access to farming data? I did know about that, Arthur, and this is in my stack of stuff. This was from the Beef Initiative. USDA just handed Palantir, the company that built ICE's deportation targeting system, a sole source $300 million contract to consolidate every single farmer's federal data into one profile. One pharma, one file, one surveillance contractor, no competitive bids. Thank you to Beef Initiative. It's an amazing website at Beef Initiative. They have beef maps there where you can find organic, grass-fed beef and cattle. They're supporting farmers and the people in the United States of America that are working tirelessly to put food on our tables. I definitely have to have the folks from Beef Initiative on the Shannon Joy Show to talk about this. But yes, Arthur, I saw that. Robert Barnes had this to say about it. Trump has made the swamp even swampier than ever before. Make the swamp great again is his presidency. Robert Barnes was a big supporter of President Trump, has pivoted hard in recent months. And on top of this, regarding the farms, this is from Newswire, U.S. farm bankruptcies have now spiked 46% in 2025. Midwest cases are surging to 70%. This is because of rising costs for fuel, what's going on with the Strait of Hormuz in Iran, rising costs for fertilizer, rising costs for shipping, tariffs, basic baseline inflation, and it's crushing revenues while debt loads mount. Polymarket traders see a 26% of a U.S. recession within the year, and this is impacting the ability of farmers to feed Americans. They are creating a monopoly. They are crushing our farmers. This is all on purpose. All on purpose. They're creating monopolies. This is monopoly making. This is the federal government and massive food corporations, big ag, big food, colluding together, conspiring illegally, immorally, and unconstitutionally against the American people. They are crushing the free market. This is not capitalism. This is not privatization. This is not helping businesses, helping small businesses. This is a brazen move to build trusts and monopolies. Horrifying. Absolutely horrifying. They are culling the farmers and monopolizing the food supply. And when you control the food, you control the people. You can poison the people. You can control everything. So we got to keep an eye on this. And we will. So thank you, Arthur, for that comment from YouTube. Techration Studios, great to see you. We are already dependent on all of those things. That's the problem, I'm telling you. It's Luddite or the internet. We will have to choose one or the other. I don't think so. Techration Studios, I don't think we have to choose one or the other. I think we don't have to make false choices. Here in the US, humans, Americans, can decide which technology they like and which technology they don't like. And we can force our government and corporations to do what we want. We just have to have the will. Step number one is to emancipate yourself and get out of the two-party system. Not left, not right. They're both working together to do this to us. And they don't have nearly as much power as many people think they do. If they had so much power, I will say this over and over again till I'm blue in the face. And I'm going to say it and say it again until each and every one of you watching and listening today gets it. They would not be spending hundreds of billions, if not trillions of dollars in convoluted psyops and kayfabe and propaganda and mass marketing. They would not be spending so much money, so much time, so much effort in convincing us of these things, in convincing us of the inevitability of these things, if they could just take over tomorrow. If they could do it, they would have already done it. They're not. They're trying to convince us to accept what they're doing. That means they're vulnerable. That means they have a soft belly. That means if we can figure out a way to rip ourselves out of the divisive two-party system for long enough to hold both parties accountable and the corporations for the cause of humanity, we can defeat them. We can crush them. The market can crush them. I need all of you to believe that and know it. If they had the power and they could do it, they already would have. And they're falling apart. Their messaging is falling apart. They can't even come up with good psyops anymore. We deserve better psyops, frankly. Okay? They just run the same thing over and over to the point where it's so obvious that everyone's mocking them. No one's even afraid. Oh my gosh, the doom scrolling. I don't even care anymore. It's like the aliens are coming, the zombie apocalypse is going to happen, World War III, nuclear bombs, economic meltdown, Big Brother, big tech, all the database. I mean, one day after another of constant fear and constant doom. I don't even care anymore. Walk out of your front door and look at the sky, put your feet in the ground, and connect with humans in your community and get started locally. Okay? Because if it's not happening right in front of your face, then I would take everything with a grain of salt. Don't let them destroy your spirit. Don't let them convince you that it doesn't matter, that you don't matter. that there's nothing we can do, that the bad guys always win, that justice can never be achieved. That is not from the Lord. That is not the truth. There is great injustice in this world, really bad things and really bad people doing bad things. But we are commanded, if you share my belief, my Christian faith, and my Judeo-Christian values, we are commanded by God to seek justice. We are commanded. We don't achieve it, he does. But we're not allowed to say that we can't go for it. Okay? That is that's a lie. It is not from the Lord. Whether you win or lose, succeed or fail, we are commanded to go out, seek justice, rebuke the oppressor, plead for the widow, defend the fatherless. That's Isaiah. I forget the chapter. So I don't want to hear that from any of you. And all of the Christians out there, all the MAGA people, the fake prophets and the fake faithful who are defending this president, shame on them. Shame on them. All right? All right. So, oh, hey, Lloyd White, great to see you on YouTube. Deepwater One, great to see you as well. Trump's low approval poll, that is why he required a false flag. Deepwater said it, not me. Okay, don't bonk me over the head on this one. All right, guys, let's go to a commercial break. We're going to finish up the show after this. I'm going to let you in on what's going down in Washington, D.C. The People versus Poison rally. Disgusting attempt by this government to extend liability protection benefits to massive, massive foreign corporations. A German corporation, Bayer. We're going to talk about that when we come back, and I'm going to key you in on how you can fight back in that area as well. So keep it tuned right here. We'll be back in a moment. But I do want to talk about parasites. So as you know, there's been a big medical hack of 2025. Everyone's talking about parasites. In fact, my husband, devastatingly handsome Dr. Joy, was recently talking about parasites as well. It's one of those topics that just has not made its way into the mainstream conversation about why we get sick, right? You go to the doctor and it's either a virus or a bacteria or a virus, but you never hear a doctor ever saying, well, maybe it's a parasite, right? So there's a lot of emerging research on this. And one of the best thing that's happened in 2025 was several peer-reviewed studies that identified direct connections between anti-parasitic medications having off-label benefits, fighting a variety of cancers. So this makes a lot of sense. The connection between tumor growth and parasites has been known for years. Now, while currently the CDC remains silent, they have admitted, finally, that millions of Americans are suffering from parasitic infections that often go undetected or undiagnosed. This is why Dr. Peter McCullough, Chief Scientific Officer over at the Wellness Company and the world's most published cardiologist, says, quote, these studies make a clear case to do at least one medical grade parasite cleanse every single year. And the TWC parasite cleanse is the real deal. This is not your mother's cleanse. This is not some supplement. This is an amazing product. It is the Wellness Company's proprietary USA compounded ivermectin plus membendazole. It is a doctor prescribed gold standard combination dose, and it's designed to help the body eliminate parasites plus a lot of other incredible benefits. Each bottle contains 90 capsules, and it's enough to complete a 21-day cleanse. So the formula cannot be found at your local pharmacy. There's no equivalent out there. But the Wellness Company removes all of that red tape by making the process fully digital. So all you have to do is fill out a quick intake form. A doctor will review the form, and your medical grade parasite cleanse will arrive to you within a week. So this is a once a year cleanse. It is worth every penny, and it's time for people to get healthy and pay attention to the parasites. So head to twc.health/joy right now. twc.health/joy. That is my landing page. If you use the promo code JOY, that's JOY, they're going to take $60 off your parasite cleanse. Plus, they're going to give you free shipping. That is only at twc.health/joy. That is twc.health/joy. Annie has popped up the QR code in the corner of the screen. You can click on that or just hover your phone over it to go right to my site and enjoy a very special gift for the SJ audience, $60 off plus free shipping on every order when you use the Joy promo code. And by the way, use the Joy promo code every time you shop at TWC. If you're already plugged in, you're already using some of their products, make sure you use that JOY code so they know I sent you. Welcome back, everyone, to the third and final segment of the Shannon Joy Show. Glad to see all of you on all of the live chats. Of course, we're broadcasting live on Twitter. We're live on Facebook, live on Substack, live on YouTube, live on Rumble. If you like the Shannon Joy Show, you like what you heard today, and you want to support us, please make sure, like, comment, post, push out, tell your friends and family about the show. I see you, Lloyd White, on YouTube. You are hilarious. Poor Lloyd has I think, a Trump-humping wife, a very Trumpy wife. I'll be working on my third divorce if I keep watching your podcast. I told her to call an attorney. P.S. YouTube isn't free. Lloyd, you are hilarious. I hope that your marriage will survive. Listen, I have Trump humper family members and friends. My own dad doesn't even watch my show anymore, okay? Because he loves Trump so much. My own sister, we don't talk about politics when we all get together. I love them dearly. We've worked it out. We're good. Don't let Trump mess up your relationships. Don't do it. I'll never let that happen again. I lost enough friends. I lost so many long-term deep friendships during COVID lockdowns over masking and forced vaccination. And I vowed to myself after that happened, I would never, ever, ever let any politician or political thing or thing happening within politics separate me from my friends and family. I won't let it happen. They might, at least I won't. Sometimes I get ousted and they separate from me because they just cannot stand my positions on certain things. And in that case, I can't control anything. But if there's anything within my power, I'm not doing it. You can believe whatever you want. If you want to love yourself some Trump and continue to subject yourself to his abuse, his lies, go for it. I'm still going to be your friend. I'm going to disagree with you, but I'm still going to be your friend. So Lloyd White, I would hang on to the wife. Hang on onto the wife, because honestly, we're all going to be proven right. I'm going to be proven right. I was right 10 years ago when Trump came down the golden escalator, and I was right 5 years ago, and I'm right today. I nailed Trump's ass to the wall when I said he was a New York City liberal Democrat predator. No morals, no value, a complete liar, and an abuser. And I said that all 10 years ago, and I was right. And I'm being proven right every day. And believe me, I don't want to be right. I'm the only person podcasting or pushing out the broadcast that you'll hear say, I hope I'm wrong on a regular basis, because I do hope I'm wrong, but I'm not, unfortunately. So let's get into, this is really sad. We're going to get into the people versus poison route. Wait until you guys see how sophisticated this operation is. Big money operation to continue to expand liability protections, complete immunity to massive corporations, and the government is helping them do it. But this broke my heart. This was pushed out by Uzi, an aggregator on Twitter. And this is what they posted. My dad called me today, and this was the message. Hey, I'm struggling to pay my property tax for this year. It went up almost $1,500 to $8,188 for the year versus $6,600 for last year. I'm confused. I thought taxes were not to increase for 2 years. Did yours go up as well? This really sucks. They're trying to drive us out of the state. My dad is 76, lives on Social Security. He lived in the same house since 1993. It's been paid off for 2 decades. Yet he still owes $8,000 in property taxes, and it is exponentially growing. And if he doesn't pay those taxes, the state of Texas is going to take his home. This is criminal. Yes. Red State America, the myth of the red state in Texas. You probably thought this was New York State, didn't you? No, this is happening in red states. And this is, there are a variety of reasons for this. General inflation, manipulation of the markets. They're manipulating the housing market. Believe me, they want us all renting. Everything is moving towards rental. They want us renting our cars. They want us renting our homes. They want to rip away the dream of home ownership in the United States of America. We've had Tiffany Cianci on the show multiple times talking about all of the ways they are cheating and creating monopolies. And big corporations, private equity, private credit are buying up huge numbers of single family homes because they want to rent them back to us. And they want to make it unaffordable for Americans to pay their taxes and own their homes. They're driving up the prices so that we're driven out of our houses. And these massive corporations can get our homes on the cheap. So they can scoop them up and then rent them back to us. So disgusting. I'm not going to go into all of the ways that they cheat, but once again, theme of the show, monopoly making and the crushing of the American dream. Very, very sad. Very sad. So this is an overview today, and I'm not sure if you guys have been able to check out Thomas Massey's speech and the rally at People versus Poison. Now, I have been critical of the Maha people, the food babe, all of the, it's the air, it's the water, it's the food that's making Americans sick. It's not. That plays a factor, but it's the shots, okay? All the shots. Flu shot, shingle shot, childhood vaccine schedule, COVID shot, you name it. Injecting is far more dangerous and far more toxic than ingesting. Period. And we're going to be going into the science of this tomorrow with Sasha Latapova. She is bringing receipts and her presentation. She went back 100 years in history and is going to lay out how dangerous, how poison these injections are. It's the injections. And that is the main driver of chronic illness. Cancers, heart disease, chronic illness, allergies, asthma, you name it, it's all there. So we're going to be talking about that tomorrow. And so I've been critical because I have found that, this focus and this obsession on food is distracting away from what we need to be doing, right? We need to be taking care of pharmaceutical liability protections, but we're not getting that. And because we refuse to hold Bobby Kennedy accountable and President Trump accountable and the Republicans accountable for betraying their promises, we're getting worse things. Okay, so when we, the people, train our politicians to betray us, to lie to us, and to gaslight us about the things that they're achieving, if we allow them to make excuses for not getting done the things they said they would do, then we will get worse of the same. So they will continue to abuse us because we're training our abusers. We're conditioning them to know that they can basically do anything to us. And this is why now we're at this terrible, terrible moment where the food babe and Del Bigtree and all the Maha people have to go to Capitol Hill and have a big rally to stop them from expanding those pharmaceutical style liability protections to other major industries. And in this case, it's big chemical. So they are hosting the People versus Poison rally, and I support them in their efforts, okay? I'm really irritated at what Maha has done and how badly they've mangled this. How they took an amazing opportunity with Bobby Kennedy Jr. and HHS, and they just, let it go. They let it go. But I support them in these efforts. So Tom Massey was speaking. Vanahari, the food babe, was there. I think Rokana is involved in this, of course. And the rally has been put together to protest pesticide manufacturers, primarily Monsanto, now owned by Bayer, and demands accountability for the alleged harms from chemicals like glyphosate, which is an active ingredient in Roundup. And there have been hundreds of millions of dollars paid out to people who have proven in courts, international courts, that glyphosate and exposure to glyphosate has caused cancers. So this is why they gathered today. And as I mentioned, I support their efforts. And I wanted to give you guys this overview from Brian Allen was probably the best overview on what is going down here. And so hat tip to Brian Allen. His handle on Twitter is @AllenAnalysis. on Twitter, and he is linked in the show notes of the Shannon and Joy Show, the entire thread. It was a multi-tweet thread. But he does a good job in just showing how they are using every angle, every branch of the federal government to establish this liability protection for this chemical corporation. And if they get away with this, they're going to do it for all other corporations too. Everyone's been salivating over the type of liability protection pharmaceutical companies have had for vaccines. Every other major industry has been salivating over that because it just means you can't sue. It means they can kill you. They can kill your child. They can permanently injure you, and you can never sue them, ever. That's it in a nutshell. And now Donald Trump, the Republicans, and a bunch of Democrats want to secure this for every other industry in the US. This is like the worst kind of capitalism. This is why I don't ever call myself a capitalist. By the way, if you've noticed that, I advocate for free markets. I advocate for free markets, extreme competition, and light regulation. I don't advocate for capitalism because capitalism as an ideology essentially creates a virtue out of maximizing shareholder profits. So the only principle, the only moralistic, if you were to call it an ideology, the only principle that exists in capitalism as defined is that the corporation maximizes, they are responsible. They have a fiduciary responsibility to maximize the shares of the stockholders or the shareholders. And by that rationale and that morality, you could justify anything. If it makes investors profitable to kill people or to make them sick and then sell them the cure, if human culling and human killing is profitable, well, then it would satisfy the tenets of capitalism as an ideology. I don't really get into this a whole lot, because it's boring, but that's why you never hear me talking about capitalism. And this would absolutely, if pharmaceutical companies and chemical companies and the military industrial complex and AI companies and tech companies and drone companies and war companies, if they can all establish for themselves liability protection, right, then that would be great for shareholders. They'd make a lot more money and capitalism would be thriving. So this is where we are in a very, very dangerous moment in history where massive corporations have now come together in an unholy alliance with massive government, the massive government apparatus. And they are working together in lockstep. And this is no better explained than this piece by Brian Allen. So in February, President Trump signed an executive order. The order declared that glyphosate, the active ingredient in Roundup, is critical to national defense. He invoked the Defense Production Act of 1950, the same law used in wartime to make companies build tankers and bombers. The executive order does one thing that matters. It shields the manufacturers from being sued, the executive branch. Republican Congressman Tom Massey said on the floor of the House, all three branches of this government are under siege by lobbyists and lawyers from the German company named Bayer. They spent over $9 million lobbying the executive branch and the legislative branch so that they don't have to be liable for any damages that their herbicide causes. Massey also named the connection. Attorney Pam Bondi previously worked for a lobbying firm called Ballard Partners. White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles, you know about this because we did a bunch of deep dives on Susie Wiles. We told you all about Ballard Partners. She previously worked for Ballard Partners as well. And that lobbying firm registered to lobby for Bayer in December of 2024. Ballard Partners gave $50 million to Trump in his campaign in 24. Now, here's what's happening today. Brian Allen writes this. The U.S. Supreme Court will hear oral arguments in Monsanto versus Durnell. This case is about whether Bayer can sue or be sued by an American named John Durnell, who got non-Hodgkin's lymphoma from Roundup. The Trump Justice Department has filed a brief with the Supreme Court, and the brief sides with Bayer against the American citizen Durnell. Why? Probably because of the $50 million that Bayer, through Ballard Partners, gave to Donald Trump to put him in office. Pay to play. Corruption in plain sight. Congress, not just the president, is also considering language in the new farm bill that would give Bayer the same immunity through legislation. So not just executive order. Now let's move on to legislation. Both the executive branch and the judicial branch are working in coordination with the legislative branch to give a German company permanent protection from being held liable. This is disgusting. Now, here's the part that is horrifying. Maha people, the people on the steps of the Capitol Hill today, thought that Bobby Kennedy Jr. was going to block things like this, but he's not. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. built his political identity on a movement called Make America Healthy Again. He spent decades suing chemical companies. He told voters that pesticides were poisoning American children. He told voters that he would hold these companies accountable. He's now the Secretary of Health and Human Services in the Trump administration, and he has done nothing. The Maha movement brought millions of voters into the Trump campaign and into the coalition, and they're now being asked to swallow a permanent legal shield for the foreign company at the center of every concern they ever raised. Tom Massie is a Republican. He's sounding the alarm. He's being joined by Democrats and other Republicans, people who believe in medical freedom and do not want to see what happened with the pharmaceutical companies be expanded to chemical companies. Because once it hits the chemical companies, the floodgates are open, and they will use this process right here over and over and over to make it so that no American ever can stand up to a big corporation that has injured or killed them or killed a loved one. And that is wrong. That is wrong. And that's how we're going to end, okay? We're going to keep this on the radar. I'm so glad that the rally is happening in Washington, D.C. I'm so glad that Thomas Massie is there. We're going to try to get him on the SJ show ASAP. In the meantime, please support his efforts. He is in a dogfight in Kentucky. Please also support my efforts. As you all know, I'm running for Lieutenant Governor of New York State with Larry Sharpe. He's a libertarian. He is running for governor. And we want to break out of the two-party political system, out of the uniparty paradigm, and we want to give New Yorkers a choice. We want to battle corruption in New York State. I know I sound like Pollyanna, but I do want to do it. We need to get on the ballot. We need 60,000 signatures, and you can get started. You can help us. Go to Larry Sharpe with an E. That's Larry Sharpe with an E to get all of the information that you need to get a petition, start a petition drive, and get connected with teams across New York State to get those signatures so that we can do something different here in New York State finally. All right. So you guys are great. Thank you so much for being with us today, with me today on the SJ Show. Keep it tuned right here. Tomorrow, Sasha Latapova live in the Joy Virtual Studio, and we have a lot of big shows lined up for you this week. Great to launch the week with you. We'll see you tomorrow right here on the Shannon Joy Show.